Hey everybody, it's Roxanne from Champion of My Heart. Today we're going to talk about prepping the house and our lives for yet another foster puppy. We have another puppy coming here just in a couple of hours. So I just finished my prep and I figured if I was going to go to all that work, I might as well take pictures and shoot video and show you all how I do this. So hello. If we've not met before, my name is Roxanne again, and I am a journalist and a longtime writer in the veterinary and pet space, like 25 plus years now. And I write a blog, run a site called Champion of My Heart. I'm a little bit famous for having my best dog in my whole life die, unfortunately, from a adverse rabies vaccine reaction. This is one of my favorite pictures over there. So I wrote a pet loss book called Heart Dogs: Surviving the Loss of Your Canine Soulmate. So if you're ever in need, I think it's a pretty good book myself. And then what else am I famous for? I don't know. I write a lot. I take a lot of pictures of puppies and write things. So I put together a bunch of video clips today while I was prepping the house for the foster puppy. So it's going to be in little bits and pieces. I just took, my hair's still wet. I just took, a shower so that, because, when you have a puppy in the house, you're not sure when you're going to be able to do that. So I apologize. My hair's still wet, whatever. So I'm going to show you where, how I prep the house after what I call speed cleaning, which basically means I kind of do everything but mop the floors, because I figure if I'm going to have a puppy in the house, there are going to be accidents and it would be kind of a waste of time and energy. So we have like a sanitizing steam mop that we use on the tile floors in our house. But I didn't do that. So I, at least, dust mopped and vacuumed the floors. I, dusted, I cleaned the bathrooms, I cleaned the kitchen, but, like in a expedited manner. So I actually did most of that last night. I did the floors this morning. So I'm going to show how I prep the floors, including rolling up area rugs. I'm going to show how I protect different parts of the house to limit where the puppies can go, how I set up my office here when the puppies hang out with me, where they go outside to go potty, where they go outside to go play, all those kinds of things. So if you've ever wondered how on earth I foster puppies, this is going to explain at least how I prepare for it. So if you don't already know my family, I have 3 dogs of my own. Clover, who's a purebred border collie. She just turned 8. Ori, who is a border collie Australian Shepherd mix, and she just turned 7. And then Mr. Sticks, who is an American Foxhound Border Collie mix. He was our first ever foster puppy that we ended up keeping. Didn't mean to. Don't call it a foster fail. I hate that term. But we ended up keeping him. We fostered him most of 2019. There's the whole story of him. If you go to championofmyheart.com and look on the About section, the story of Mr. Sticks, you can see his whole story because it's quite an ordeal. So he was our first ever foster puppy. We ended up keeping him. So in my own life, obviously I've been a dog lover since I was born pretty much. I came home from the hospital to a home with a dog and had several dogs as a kid. Once I started having dogs of my very own, I've now raised 7 dogs of my own over the years. And the puppy that we're getting later today will be foster puppy 19. It is just a single puppy. Sometimes we do get as many as 3 puppies from a litter. But this time it's just 1, and she has a broken leg. So she will be staying with us probably 4 to 6 weeks while that leg heals. So that's what's going on here today. I haven't had lunch yet, so I wanted to finish this video. I'm going to go have lunch, and then I will edit everything together and show you how I prepare the house for a foster puppy. Thanks so much for your interest. Now, different organizations that have foster volunteers, have different like strategies and budgets and all that kind of stuff. But I will tell you that the shelter for whom we foster provides things like, potty pads and food,
So, so none of that is out of pocket. Any medicine that the puppies need, the foster puppies need, the shelter gives me that for free. So really I don't have to spend any of my own money. Of course I do, because that's just me. But, so over the years I've gotten like, a tiny puppy food bowl, because the bowls I use for my dogs are kind of big. And I have, the shelter gets a lot of toys donated, and I also buy some. And so often I will, grab some of the smaller toys for the puppies. I even bought a little coat once because we had a really tiny puppy over winter and she would get cold up here in the mountains of Colorado. So I have a little coat if they need it. And I have a variety. Now this pink one was Clover's puppy harness when she was little with a matching leash. But often when we have really, really tiny puppies, I need smaller harnesses and leashes for them. And so I have just kind of a selection that I've bought over the years, for various different puppy sizes. The only puppy that these didn't fit recently, we had a little Chihuahua who was ridiculously tiny, barely over a pound when he first came. And so the shelter gave me the tiniest harness they had, and I even had to modify that to get it to fit him so that I could, work on leash manners and stuff. But so I have, various things that I keep for the puppies. So that's important. Obviously the other big things are, like bags for, poop sacks and paper towels, that kind of stuff that I, typically just get, left over from the grocery store, or the paper towels in bulk, like from Costco. So I buy cleaning supplies in bulk because you go through a lot when you have foster puppies. I typically buy these big bottles of Nature's Miracle, and refill the spray bottle and just tote that around with paper towels with me throughout the day as needed to clean up any potty accidents. And then the other cleaner that our shelter, particularly after the puppies are gone, is like a Clorox cleanup kind of thing. And I, use that, for infection control and just, keeping things sanitary as needed. So obviously there is some cleanup. That's the one, puppies are messy and they're stinky, but it's really fun. I mean, to be honest, I really enjoy it. And so, you'd think that the cleanup would be the part that I don't like, but it's actually not that bad. This is the chain link dog pen that we have off of the east side of our house, out of the garage. So basically you go from the kitchen through the garage out into this space, and it's fenced with 6-foot chain link. And so this is where our dogs potty mostly, particularly at night because of, where we live in the Colorado mountains. There are predators, and so we don't like letting them out in the dark. Where there might be wild animals or something. And so there's a little deck and this chain link fence. And so what I have to do, if the puppy's really, really small, let me come over here, hold on. If the puppy's really small, I will prop a piece of firewood or something to block this gap in the gate here. Because if they're really, really tiny, they can scooch right on through there. And, obviously we don't want them getting into the backyard back there. So, I will block those off if the puppy's really tiny. The one we're getting today, like I've said, is pretty big, about 17 pounds. So I probably won't have to do that for her. But this is kind of my secret for house training puppies. This is where my dogs go. Obviously there they all are. And so we all, we kind of run out here and we say go potty, and everybody goes, and, they get a lot of praise, and so it works really well. It's a nice, safe, contained space for them to learn potty training. Now, depending on the size of the puppy, I may or may not set up an X-pen to block off the bottom of the stairs like I've done here. It really just depends. If they're really, really tiny puppies, they're honestly not very good at climbing stairs, so I don't worry about it. But if they are slightly bigger puppies, or like the one that we're getting later today that has a broken leg, we obviously don't want her going up and down the stairs and, you know, risking a fall or whatever. And so anyway, so I block off the stairs, the upstairs, with an X pen. And we have a door at the top of the stairs to the basement, so we can close that and not have to worry about any of the puppies going down there. Once I'm done speed cleaning the house before a new foster puppy comes home, then what I do is I roll up the area rug that's normally here, and there's one normally in my office too, I'll show you in a little bit. And I set up this X pen. We recently went to this plastic one. We used to have a metal one. Well, we have a couple of them. And the only thing that's weird about it is that it doesn't come with a door. So you have to undo, like here, I'll show you. This comes out, this big pin comes out, and then you can crack it and let the puppies out. And so it works pretty well. You know, I wish it had a door that they could climb in and out of, but this has honestly worked really well. The only trick is once you get them back in there, it's going to be hard to do with one hand here, hold on, is to get the pin through all these alternating, hold on, through the alternating brackets. Oops, see, it popped open there. Hold on, let me get my foot down there. There we go. And then once you get them lined up, then the pin just goes straight down, and then they're safe in there. And so I don't have this set up yet, but typically in here I would have, you know, potty pads, I would have a little bed, you know, some toys, that kind of stuff. And so in the evening, like after dinner, or, you know, during the day when I have stuff to do and I can't be monitoring them, this is where they stay, in the living room. Okay, so here's the living room X pen, you know, mostly set up. You know, sometimes I vary this a little, but, you know, a little bit of a crate pad kind of bed, some toys, some potty pads. These actually have peel and stick back, so you can tape them to the floor kind of, which is helpful for some puppies who think it's hilarious to drag these around and play with them and tear them up, which makes a big mess. But I don't know, for me, it doesn't really, it just sort of adds to the work of putting them down. And the other thing I've gotten really good at is whipping these panels forward, you know, lifting them and setting them forward, and getting, particularly if they've pooped and I don't want the puppy to be stepping in the poop and tracking it all over, my husband and I jump up and we move these panels really quick and, you know, slide the soiled pad out and pop a new one in. And so we've gotten really good at that over the years. We come flying off the sofa in the evening in particular and can do that. But anyway, so this is kind of how I set it up. If need be, we can even put a really small crate in here if the puppy feels like he or she wants to hide. You know, if they feel more comfortable enclosed, then we can also put a really small puppy crate in here if we wanted. And I will tell you, I've already had to set this up twice because you will see they realize what this means. Once I roll up the carpet on the area rugs and set up the X pen, they know that means that a puppy's coming. And so Tori in particular has been trying to steal the puppy's toys and has pushed the X pen, because it slides around, has pushed it around quite a bit already. So that does happen. We have had, particularly if we have a litter of puppies, they figure out that they're big enough to push it, and we've actually had them push the X pen almost all the way to the kitchen to try to be with us, which is pretty hilarious. You know, kind of makes a mess, but it's pretty funny when they figure out that they can do that and they coordinate their efforts to push the X pen around. If necessary, we can put like weights around the bottom, you know, like workout weights, just to block them so that they can't slide it around. But usually we don't have to do that if there's just one. You know, usually if it's a single puppy, it's pretty easy in here. All right, so this is my office, and again, normally there is an area rug in that part of my office, but I roll it up after I'm done speed cleaning and everything. And what I typically do is I put a potty pad there in that corner, and then I put one over in this corner too. What I've learned over all the many foster puppies that we've had is that puppies like to go in the corner. I don't know why, but they do. And so that's where I typically put pee pads. Once in a while, I'll put another one like over here. But that's what's been working well for me. Now, when I have really, really tiny puppies, I have to roll up towels and stuff them here and then underneath the furniture on all sides here, so that they can't get underneath there, because if they're really tiny, they think it's hilarious to go under there, and I worry about them getting stuck. And so you know, there's cords under there and stuff, so I block that off if they're really tiny. The puppy that we're getting today is probably around 17 pounds, which is pretty good size. So I'm not too worried about her squeezing under there, but we'll see. If she starts, you know, causing issues, you know, wanting to get under there, then I'll stuff towels. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. And then the other thing I do, and I haven't brought it in yet, is I typically have like these little baskets here underneath my bookshelves. And so often I will put that basket in the closet and lay a small crate pad underneath there, because the puppies like to hide under there. And again, there are cords, and so it kind of depends on how naughty they are. If I have to, I can unplug. Actually, the only cord that's under there is the phone cord. So if I have to, I can unplug the old-fashioned phone and move it. And so, you know, so sometimes I have to move all of this, you know, the caller ID, you know, my recording devices. And so all of my other cords, like computer, my battery backup and all that is in this basket. And I put this tote lid on top so that the puppies can't crawl in there all over the cords and stuff. So it really depends on the puppy. If they're very, very motivated, then what I have to do is, you know, like take all the phone stuff away, put it in the closet, and just use like, you know, like a cordless phone or my computer to make calls. And then, you know, I can block this off if I have to. I have extra like X Pen panels that I can block, you know, that side and underneath my desk, and completely block off that area if they're very, very motivated about cords. But generally, I haven't had to do that in a while, but it is an option if I need it. So I'm trying to think of what else I do in here. Oh, after my puppies grew up, I was silly and I got rid of the baby gates that, you know, block just a single door. So I don't have them anymore. I donated them. And for a long time I would just close my door. But what happens, particularly in the summer, if you have a whole bunch of puppies, is it gets really hot and stinky in here because they're gross. I mean, I love them, but they're stinky. So now what I do is I use another X Pen, like what I have at the bottom of the stairs, and I just block off the doorway, and that way my dogs can be out in the main part of the house and see the puppies, and the puppies can see them, but then the puppies are kept here in my office. So that's kind of the office setup that they learn to deal with work at home. If I have to, those are like work files and stuff. Sometimes puppies think it's really hilarious to pull the papers out and shred them. So sometimes I have to put that up on my desk or cover it up like with a towel or something to keep them from annoying me while I'm working. So this is our typical crate setup in the dining room. You can see our dining room has like this little half wall, and the crates fit nicely just inside of that. So Tori, Clover, and Sticks sleep in here at night, unless we let them sleep in the big bed with us. So I haven't decided yet where the puppy that we're going to get today is going to sleep. It really kind of depends on her needs. So I do have, like, see that little crate there? That's the one that Clover flew from Virginia to Colorado in an airplane in when she was a puppy. And so that's a really nice sized puppy crate that we can have in here with the big dogs if we need to. You know, like if the puppy feels lonely or whatever, you know, sometimes we put them in here so that they can see and hear and smell the other dogs. And it makes them feel, you know, more confident and less afraid. But I also have metal crates that are big like this that we can put puppies in. And we even have a gigantic one, you know, like Great Dane sized. that if we needed to use it, like that's what we used for Mr. Sticks when he was our first ever foster puppy, and going through all of his orthopedic surgeries and having to wear the cone of, a cone, and flipping and flopping at night trying to get comfortable. And so we also have a gigantic one if we needed it. But we'll kind of wait and see how the puppy does. If she, the one that we get today, if she handles the X pen that I showed you, the plastic one in the living room okay, there's a chance we might just let her sleep in that overnight. That's what we did with little Pave, the little Chihuahua that we had, is he just slept in that, and we laid a sheet over the X pen, like covered him kind of like a bird, and that way, he felt secure and all that on all sides rather than having it open. So we have some different sleeping options depending on the size of the puppy, how many puppies we have, and any medical needs. For example, if it's a puppy with serious medical needs, then I can bring this little crate, the puppy-sized one, and keep it next to my side of the bed, if I need to kind of monitor them overnight. We did that in particular with his name was Charlie, a really tiny pug that we had in 2021 who had pneumonia, and so I wanted to be able to monitor his breathing overnight and stuff. So he slept in that crate next to the bed. So it really just depends. We have some flexible options here on how to house them overnight, or like when we're gone or something. So this is the actual kennel, like chain link, honest to goodness kennel that we have down in the basement. As you can see, we've draped it with some blankets to make it feel a little more cozy. And then what we do, particularly when we have a litter of puppies, more than one, the most we've ever had is 3, we set this up down here. So there's a little bed over in the corner here, and I cover that whole back part with pee pads, and then they have a little bit of traction here with these commercial carpet squares that are really easy to take outside and power wash if they get yucky. So anyway, so this is where, you can see there's a little bit of a roof so they feel snugglier, but this is where we put litters overnight. So there's a nice little, the gate closes and they're in there overnight. We usually leave a like a night light on for them so that it isn't super dark down here. And what else? And they just stay down here at night if we have a bunch of them. And what I like about them having more space and the back being covered with potty pads is, kind of whatever happens overnight happens, and I just clean it up in the morning. And honestly, it works really well. It doesn't take me that long to clean up. We leave them a little snack and some water down here. And so when we have several puppies, this works really well. So this is what we affectionately call Possum's Country Bunker. So this is just a little, here's the back of the house, a tiny, tiny area of real grass. There's the barbecue. And then it has these planters with trees and stuff. That's what the shade canopy is tied to. And there's strawberries and rhubarb that's kind of on its last leg, and some flowers and stuff. But what's nice about this area is, for one thing, it's protected from the sun and the wind for the most part. But I can also block off, I can use those lawn chairs there to block off that little opening. And so, depending on how many puppies we have, I will do that. Because what that does, the greater backyard is out there, right? There's the backyard. There's another sunshade over there. And there's gardens over that way too. But what's nice about that is that, if I block off that little opening there, then the big dogs, my dogs, can all easily jump into these planters and get into the main part of the backyard and leave the puppies behind. So what's nice about that is it gives everybody control, right? The puppies are here safely in this little area that's all, contained. And the big dogs can go out and do whatever they want. The only downside to blocking it off is that our youngest, Mr. Sticks, because of his many fractures when he was a puppy before he was rescued, he can't, the ground is lower outside there, and he can't always jump back in the way the girls can. And so he will often come to where I have it blocked off, and he'll cry to come in here to be with the puppies. And then as soon as they show interest in him, then he jumps back out. And so it gets really annoying having to let him in and out. So in particular, if I only have one puppy, or if that puppy has like a leg fracture or something like the one we're getting later today, then what I'll do instead is have the puppy in a harness and connected to a really long leash. And so that way the puppy has some freedom in here, right? You know, to run around and do whatever. But I don't have to keep letting Sticks in and out of the area. So, you know, so what's nice about that, again, is the big dogs can come in here and be with the foster puppies if they want to, but they have an easy escape hatch. And so particularly, where's Tori? Tori, come here for a sec. So particularly Tori here. Tori is not necessarily a huge fan of puppies, right? Clover loves them. Clover's always the first to make friends there, but Tori can be a little grumpier with them. And so often what I'll do, if I notice that Tori is getting grumpy with the foster puppies, you know, I'll just tell her out, and she'll jump into the planter and go out into the yard. And so that way, you know, I can just direct her verbally, you know, that if she's feeling crabby, she should just move away and, you know, leave the puppies be. So I do that. And it works pretty well. It's super, super hot. I don't know where you are in the country right now, but here in the West, in Colorado and West, it is just ridiculously hot. It's almost 90, which for our altitude is insane. So it's super, super hot. We're going to go inside now. But anyway, so that's the little grassy area that you will often see in the photos that I share on social media with the puppies. This is, we call it, because Tori's nickname is the Awesome Possum, so we jokingly call it Possum's Country Bunker, because it's, you know, kind of protected. And it just gives us a nice safe place for the foster puppies to learn about being outside without being in the yard. Now I will sometimes let them come out into the big yard. If it's a big enough puppy and I don't have to worry about them going through the cattle fencing, I will let the bigger puppies, if they're allowed, you know, medically or whatever, I will let them run around in the big part of the yard. But the really tiny puppies, the only way I do that is if they're on, they have a harness and a leash on, and drag that around so that I can, you know, grab them if need be. But the thing we have to worry about, and one of the reasons that we have these shade canopies, is we have a lot of birds of prey. And so particularly really tiny foster puppies like little Pave, the Chihuahua that we had recently, you know, he easily could have been scooped up by a hawk or an eagle or something. And so we have to be careful. So the sunshade provides, you know, overhead protection for the puppies as well as shade and comfort for all of us. But anyway, so we hang out here a lot, particularly on the weekends when we have foster puppies.